Hi there everyone, it's Chris here at Bluerhino Safaris. Since we've done Morocco in April, I haven't yet done a video on it, and I'm busy planning my next Morocco trip in 2026. It's coming up in the beginning of the year, again April, May area, which is a very nice time to visit the Moroccan area. And yeah, this might be a slightly longer video because there's so much to do and see and so many interesting things there that it might just be a little bit longer. So I do apologize, but stick with me. It's quite interesting. If you do Morocco, there's at the moment of making this video, there's no direct flights to Morocco. You have to fly via somewhere. Now the last two times we did it, we went via Qatar. We flew with Qatar Airways. But because we have to change flights and there's nothing direct, we decided that it's a good idea to use the opportunity to visit Europe at the same time. So getting to Morocco, we're not driving there, we are flying there, we are renting when we get to Morocco. So the easiest way to do it, or the nicest way to do it, is to combine your Morocco holiday with maybe a week or so in one of the European areas. What's funny is when I was in Morocco the first time, I was in a supermarket, I was at the checkout, and I chatted to the lady at the checkout, and she's a fellow African. I'm from Africa, she's from Africa, and she said, nope, they are not from Africa, they are Mediterranean. And you can see on the map here that the Mediterranean is right here. So they consider themselves in Morocco as part of Spain, Italy, the whole Mediterranean area. So they don't think of themselves as Africans. But I include it in my trips because it is part of Africa, if you like it or not. But it was a funny day. I was more African than the Moroccan, she considered. But in any case. So getting there is something that you can do via somewhere else. And we used the opportunity on both occasions to go via France. Morocco is a ex-French colony, so there is some French spoken in Morocco. It's also easy to get from France to Morocco because there's a lot of travelers going there because it's an ex-French colony. So there's businesses and families and things that happens there. So there's a lot of air traffic that flows between Morocco and France. And that's why I decided to do that. But you can also do Turkey. Turkish airlines normally have decent prices, so you can fly via Turkey and maybe spend a few days in Turkey. There's a few ways that you can do it. But the flight is for your cost, so you figure out how you want to do it. You just need to get there on a day, and then we start our tour of Morocco. So how you do that is up to you. But yeah, we choose to go via France. And that gives us the time to see the general places, the Eiffel Tower obviously, and Sacré-Cœur, and the rest of Paris. Last time we went through to Toulouse and Bordeaux, and it was really interesting. So it's fun, and it's not a lot more. It's not much more expensive to do a little detour of Europe. But yeah, so that is getting there. Once we get there, then it's a question of getting everybody in the same place. And I start in Marrakesh because that's where we pick up the motorhomes. But on the last trip, some of my guests flew into Casablanca because the flights were cheaper into Casablanca. And then from Casablanca, you just get a transfer to Marrakesh, which is about 2 hours or something by vehicle. There's buses and trains and all kinds of things that run. So you can fly into pretty much any of the big cities. It's not that far apart. It's like, it's not even from Joburg to Bloemfontein. That's your circle that you're working on. So it's quite easy to move between the major areas in Morocco. So you fly into wherever is the cheapest for you. And then you drive to get to Marrakesh because the first 2 nights included in your cost is Marrakesh. We sleep in Marrakesh in a riad. Now a riad is an old Arabic household, which means it doesn't have windows to the outside. It just has a single door on the front. It normally has a spring or a fountain in the middle, or a swimming pool or water feature, and it normally has a terrace. So it's very nice. It's very different to stay in these places. Normally about 3 stories with a terrace at the top on the 4th story. And it's really cool and romantic to sleep in these little places. We sleep close to the market in Marrakesh. So we are there for 2 nights. This gives you time to fly in a day early and stay extra day in Marrakesh, or come a day late and just skip the first day because you couldn't get a flight that works for you. So we're trying to give everybody like a 3-day window to get into Marrakesh and get themselves sorted there. Once we're there, we check into the Riyadh, we do our thing for the 2 nights. And then on the third night of the trip, we are going to sleep in our campers in Marrakesh, where we receive them. So that's the night where we check out the campers, make sure that everything works, figure out what to do, what not to do, how these things operate. And then we do our shopping as well. So we go out, we get our shopping done. There's a Marjan close by to the campsite. Marjan's a big supermarket. You can buy wine, you can buy groceries, you can buy meat. Everything is available there, good quality, no problems there. So nothing to worry about. We prepare our own food in our motorhomes, or we braai. I normally take 1 or 2 braais with us. So there's 1 or 2 nights that we'll have braai nights. Charcoal is a bit more difficult to come by, but we will have some braai nights. And restaurants. Restaurants are good. It's nice to eat the local Moroccan food. Do a tagine if you haven't done it before. It is really brilliant to do that. But that's it. So we get our motorhomes, we stock up. We are in Marrakesh. We've now done the Marrakesh market, the souks, and in the Medina, we've been there. We've seen the whole Marrakesh. We were there for 2 days, settled ourselves in, make sure everything's fine. I pick up the radios. We give each vehicle a radio. We sort out the Wi-Fi in the vehicles, and then we are ready to go. Once we go, our first leg is down to Ouarzazate. Ouarzazate is where we sleep. It's also the center of filmmaking in Morocco. And on the way there, we stop at Bin Ataidou. If you have ever seen the Game of Thrones series, then you might recognize Bin Ataidou. It is an old mud village that has been abandoned, but they use it for filming in several movies. I think in Gladiator it was in Gladiator. I would think it was also in Game of Thrones. But Ben Ataidou is our first stop, and then after that we head off to Ouarzazate for the night. So we started our journey in Marrakesh. We went through the Atlas Mountains. The Atlas Mountains lies in this area up here. So we go through the High Atlas, through to Ouarzazate, and then we start the second part of our journey. And the second part of the journey is to get through to Majuga. Majuga is our desert experience. It's on the edge of a big sandbank where a lot of tourists do their Sahara Desert experience. And it's a really nice drive because we are on the backside of the Atlas Mountains, and we now have very, very interesting rock formations. So from Ouarzazate to Majuga, we take 2 days, and we visit some of the local gorges. And we are also there at the end of the rose season. Now, Morocco produces rose oil, a lot of rose products, and there's several tons of roses being produced by Morocco in this region. So it's really pretty. It's really nice to drive through there in this time of the year for that reason. And while we are there, we visit we drive up on some of the very interesting mountain passes, the switchbacks that we have on the way to one of our campsites for the night. And on the way there, we stop for roses and we have a look around for the rose products. Then the next day after the switchback pass, we carry on with the road and visit some areas with very nice rock formations. Again, a very interesting canyon that we drive through. And this canyon on a weekend is extremely busy. A lot of people. They do rock climbing. They sit in the water. It's like going to the Drakensberg or somewhere for the day. And you see people everywhere just sitting and enjoying it. And it's something very interesting in Morocco. on weekends, the locals go out and they take their camping chairs and they just find an olive tree, and they would just sit under the olive tree and have their picnic lunch under any olive tree that they find in the region, especially more north. In this area, it is more in this riverbed down in one of the gorges. Once we've done this, we carry on to Majuga, and we do Majuga for a few nights. Now, the idea with Majuga is that this is the desert section. We have the sand, the Sahara, the camels, the Berbers, everything is there, and we go for our camel ride. It's not included in your price, but if you want to do it, you're welcome to do it. Otherwise, you can stay back a little bit. On the last trip, one of the guys broke away and they did 4x4s in the desert rather than the camels. So it's all up to you what you want to do with that time. So we time it just so that it's right. There's also a very nice market in Majuga with Berber products that they sell, carpets, scarves, those type of things. Really nice to have a bit of time to shop around and have a look around. But yeah, brilliant to actually enjoy the Majuga area on the Sahara Desert extremities. This is also one of the areas that the Paris-Dakar used to drive through, so this is considered part of the Dakar Rally area. And that is Majuga for us. We have a nice experience there, lovely place, lovely people, nice just to be there in any case and enjoy it. Once we are done with Majuga, we head north. We are now heading up to the Mediterranean, and a lovely drive. Again, now going back across the Atlas Mountains into the northern section, which is a little bit more green, more olive groves, and really a nice area. So lovely drive for the day. The way we do coffee stops on this trip is not to, I don't stop and boil a kettle for everybody like I normally do. There's these little coffee cars that you find all along the road, and you stop at the coffee car, you get yourself an espresso, we have a quick coffee, and 10 minutes later we're back on the road and carry on with our day. So these little coffee cars are everywhere, and it's also a fun experience to do. But for the day, we carry on back over the Atlas Mountains, the Mid-Atlas Mountains, and we ultimately arrive close to Fez. We stay, it's a long day, so we can't quite make it to Fez on the day, so we sleep a little bit short of it. But then ultimately we do Fez for 2 nights. It's a change that I made in the route. Last time we did 1 night in Fez, and the guy said, "Nah, you can do another night in Fez. It's really a nice city." It's also a red city, so the bricks that they are using there and the colors that you see are more towards the reds. And it's also the biggest Medina, the oldest Medina, the most highly concentrated group of people in one specific area. It's really a nice place. The Medina there, the old city, Medina, is spectacular. Inside of the Medina is the oldest university in the world. And this is really very cool to walk around there and see these things. Fez is also known for the leatherworks that they have. So I take you to one of the best known spots where you can have a look over the leatherworks and you see these type of pictures. You've seen it on The Amazing Race and all kinds of other traveling shows before. So this is not unfamiliar. You have seen it, but we actually go there. We look at the leatherworks that they have. They have very nice jackets that you can buy, leather jackets, purses, wallets, you name it, they sell it there. So a very nice day in Fez. 2 days actually, so we have enough time. There's also a nice big market, a Carrefour market. There's also Marjan there, so good groceries. We can get some laundry done, so we get ourselves sorted out. And once we are done in Fez, we carry on towards the north. Now, on the way north, we stop at a place called Volubilis. Volubilis is an old Roman outpost. This was sort of the edge of the Roman Empire. So if you look back towards Italy and Egypt, and you say, all right, the ancient Romans, where did they operate? They had an outpost out here, which means there was a little village that was set there, and the local governor or whoever he was in the area was then situated in this area. So we visit the city, the historic city, UNESCO World Heritage Site of Volubilis. This is included in your cost, and we just enjoy the day in Volubilis. Not the day, it takes about 3 hours. We have lunch there. They have a little restaurant, but really nice to visit. Once we're done in Volubilis, we carry on up to Chefchaouen. Chefchaouen is a town that I like. My wife loves it. It is really a very interesting town. It's called the Blue City because everything in the city has this lovely blue tint to it. People spend a lot of time making sure things are blue. There's a lot of these little alleyways which is very blue in color and is extremely picturesque. It's on the side of a hill, so it's an interesting entrance into the city. To get through the city with our campers, up the mountain, get to our campsites. And it's really nice to stay there. We also stay there for 2 nights, so we have the whole day the next day to walk around, buy some interesting touristy stuff there, have a meal on the market in the old Medina. So a really nice city. A lot of history again on Chefchaouen, but it's really a cool place to visit. So again, we do the Medina, we do Chefchaouen for 2 days. Once we are done with that, there is an option to carry on to the Mediterranean Sea and then turn around, but there's no real campsites up here, so I've avoided that over a while. We've all seen the sea, so I'm pretty comfortable with that. But 1 or 2 vehicles of the group broke away last time and said no, they wanted to drive around and see this, and they left us for 1 night, slept in a different small campsite, and then met us in Casablanca the next day. Because for the rest of the group, I'm going from Chefchaouen down to the coast, past Rabat, which is the capital of Morocco, and then all the way on to Casablanca. Casablanca is a fairly modern city, fairly new, and yeah, there's a cafe that we went to where you had this interesting burger where the garnish for the burger was this little small burger that goes on top, which was quite weird, but very good. No problem there. But then at Casablanca, you also have the chance to visit the mosque, a very impressive building. If you fly over Morocco, you can see the mosque from the aeroplane. It is such a big building, more than 200 meters high, the minaret. It is spectacular. It is a must-see. They do have tours inside. If you want to do the tour inside, we are there, and there is some time to get in and do the tour if you want to go through the inside of the building. But otherwise, just seeing the outside, taking some pictures is really spectacular. But otherwise, Casablanca is sort of just a little bit too modern to fit into the tour, really. And last time we had 3 nights allocated, and I think we spent only 1 or 2 nights because it was sort of done and dusted, and we didn't really need to go into Casablanca. Mohammedia on the outside, there's some interesting places there to go to, nice shops, and just a bit of a chill to be next to the ocean on that night. But we are heading towards the end of our trip, so from Casablanca we travel further south to Al Jadida. Al Jadida is a stop that we'll do. In future, we might just sleep there for the night. We got out, we did the old Portuguese fort and the Portuguese area there, had a meal there. It's a lovely city, very touristy, quiet but touristy. It lends itself to good photography and really interesting things. There is a bit more of a historical adventure that we have. And then once we are done at Al Jadida, we go down to Essaouira. Essaouira is a coastal city, and Essaouira is known as a very touristy city, and it's nice. It's nice to end our trip there because we do 3 nights in Essaouira, which is a bit of an overkill. You don't need 3 nights, but it's really nice just to have a break and take a chill and go into the city and have an ice cream or have a beer or something like that. And Essaouira reminds me a lot of the feeling of the Eastern Cape holiday, the Jeffreys Bay, Port Elizabeth, that type of vibe to it. It is also a place where a lot of the filming gets done in Morocco on the coastal scenes. And if you've ever, well, if you watched Game of Thrones, then you would have also seen some of the scenes in Essaouira that was was filmed there. So nice city to go through, nice city to just take a break with and feel like a tourist rather than a historian. So yeah, Essaouira is really brilliant. I love it there. We don't go further south anymore. There used to be some arches down at the bottom. These arches have fallen over with a recent storm, so it's not really worth going further south to Agadir. But you can if you want to do a detour through Agadir and go up to Marrakesh. But we are done. We are heading back to Marrakesh for our last night in the motorhome, and we travel through to Marrakesh, arrive in Marrakesh, sleep there for the night, hand our vehicles back, check ourselves out, and that is the trip done. So easy day's drive. Nice to be back in Marrakesh. You can quickly go back to that shop where you wanted to buy that little carpet, and so there's a bit of time to do that as well. But a really brilliant trip. And if you look at it from a 10,000 feet view, you start in Marrakesh, you cross the Atlas, you do the desert section, you cross the Atlas again, you do the olive groves section, the green section, the old Roman section, and then you do the coastal section. And as a package, I think it really worked well. Everybody enjoyed themselves, and it's one of those experiences that you won't forget. It really is just brilliant. So yeah, let's have a look at a little bit of the detail of the trip itself. Motorhomes are already booked for the trip. First night is 20 April 2026. So I said the first of the 2 nights in Marrakesh in the Riyadh. The first night is on the 20th. So if you arrive on the 20th, you are perfectly good for the trip. You can also arrive on the 21st. We are still in Marrakesh for that night. You can arrive 2 days earlier if you want to, and just extend your stay a little bit. The duration is 19 nights, luxury motorhomes. We rent motorhomes. The price to be confirmed. It's still too far away to confirm everything, but I don't think it's going to change too much from 48,700. And that 48,700 basically splits the cost into 2 portions. One is the rental of the motorhome, which is about half of that. The other half is your camping and Bluerhino fees and all the other stuff that you normally have for a tour. But it basically splits in 2. And what it means is if I drive off a cliff or I drop dead tomorrow, your motorhome is booked and paid for. So even if I disappear, your motorhome is there. You still fly in. You can still do the whole trip exactly as it stands. So your motorhome rental is safe. It's you that rent the motorhome. I do the payment and the admin and everything, but once we commit to the motorhomes, it's yours and it's there. If the group falls apart, it doesn't make any difference. Those motorhomes are allocated and paid for, and you collect your motorhome and you do your thing. It's not going to happen. I like Morocco too much. Included is your hotels, motorhome rental, camping fees, some of the entrances that we have to pay. The total distance last time was just under 3,000 kilometers that we drove. So yeah, that was it. Fuel cost about the same as it is in South Africa. It's not very different. So it's not really all that expensive ultimately. And this is the video of the motorhome that we stay in. It is a luxury motorhome. It is really nice. It's got leather seats and benches and the proper fridge, which automatically switches between gas and electricity, and it's got a hot shower inside. And I think on this last trip again, I showered in the motorhome every night. I didn't bother to use the outside showers because sometimes they don't have hot water, and you know the old camping story. But yeah, it is really brilliant. It's nice. It's nice and luxurious to use. Powerful motors, very good. I think in 2026 they are using 2025 models, so it's all new motorhomes, and it really is good. First day you just need to get used to it a little bit because you're driving on the wrong side of the road, but it's very quick and you know what's happening and you know how it works and what to do. So if you want to come with, I only have space for 5 vehicles. If you twist my arm, I'll do a 6th one, but I prefer to keep the group about 10 people. So if you want to come with in 2026 in April, please let me know as soon as possible. We need to pay the deposits for the motorhomes so that we can secure them. There's always a big group from Europe that rents all the motorhomes from this company, and we are right in their window. So we don't want to tempt fate. So if you want to go, let me know. We need to pay deposits for motorhomes, and then from there it's straightforward. Getting Moroccan visas is not a problem. It's fairly cheap, and then just book your flight directly or via a European city. Meet me there. You can break away, stay with the group as you want to. We have 2-way radios. There's Wi-Fi in the motorhome. It's just absolutely brilliant and easy. Food is good. It's just lovely. I will do this for the rest of my life if I can get there. So if you want to go, please let me know rather urgently. Let's get this thing organized. Have a great day. Stay safe, and we'll chat soon. Cheers.